Hi, I'm John VanDenBerg. I'm a volunteer consultant to Families Plus. I'm one of the founders of the wraparound process. Families Plus is an agency based on the principles of wraparound, which simply says, what does this child, this particular family, what do they need to have a better life? Very flexible, very individualized approach. What's exciting to me, though, is Families Plus has taken the wraparound process and added to it some other things that mean this really is unique to my experience. I mean, I've been in every state, I've trained and traveled across the world, but I've never seen anything quite like what I was able to find here in my own county. Families Plus is unique because it takes the notion of working with families with very complex needs, lots of agencies involved with them, and asks the wraparound question, but also combines mentorship, volunteer mentors who can really work with these families, support these families, along with clinical interventions such as therapy, case management, and other evidence-based practices, and puts them all together in a package that we think is very important for rural America.
The Families Plus program started back in 1998. Myself and some other therapists in the area who work with children noticed that children in complicated situations did not respond to individual therapy or family therapy, weekly therapy. We noticed that they just weren't getting better. So we put our heads together and decided to try to work out something that would help these children. So in October 9th, 1998, we formed a board and formed a program and decided to set about creating a service for these children that would help them get better.
My first experience with Families Plus was, I think we were recommended by probably hospice when my husband passed 5 years ago. And we had a difficult passing. We had a large family. His mother had just died and she lived with us. So it was a crisis. And my health was very bad. And so the people were sensitive and they mentioned Families Plus, which at the time did not mean anything to me, but it turned out to be the best thing that came out of all of it. For lack of better words, it's been a God thing in our life. It has touched every area of my family and my life. And sensitivity, dignity, integrity, I can't give it enough words. There aren't enough for how well we've been treated and thoughtfully. As an individual, for me, and not only the kids. Initially, it was, focused more on the kids maybe. But I could not have been Branum today if it weren't for Families Plus, and we would not be where we are without Families Plus. And that is the truth. It's true. They were a gift.
We're one of the poorer counties in the state, and just from the physical dynamics, although it's a gorgeous place to visit, it's a difficult place to live, and many families don't have adequate needs. They don't have adequate food, they don't have adequate shelter, they don't have enough money, they don't have transportation. Additionally, there can be problems with children that are without parents. That we've had several families actually that lost both parents, and grandparents were raising them, and then lost those grandparents as well. So children who wind up without another option, because of our rural tiny dynamic, it also means very few providers to go a long, long way. And so there's minimal resources directly to serve the population. So we've done a lot of wraparound and complex treatment. That's been a model that we've really pioneered that's now beginning to be spoken about in a more mainstream fashion.
A child with complex needs is a child that's growing up in some challenging circumstances because their family is in challenging circumstances. These children, for instance, come from homes that have very low income. They're in the poverty range. Or they have a single parent who has really no community or family support in raising them. Or they are being raised by grandparents with very little extended family support. Or they could be a child with genetically based complicated mental health problems where the parents really need help to manage these children's needs and raise them well. So children with complex needs come from a variety of backgrounds where there's more disruption than usual, more moving, more crises, more challenges. So children with complex needs often are coming through families that are very challenged all the time.
Everybody's so excited about this program, and sometimes they don't even know about it, and I tell them what we do, and they're like, wow, that is so needed, and that's such a great thing. My volunteers are so happy to help out. They come in to us. We are always looking for people, but half the time they're just coming to our door saying, we'd like to volunteer, and we get mentors that are just so desperately needed, but the ones that do it are so good with the kids, and the kids are happy, the mentors are happy, everybody's so much more fulfilled. It's great.
I think the most prominent volunteer role is that of mentor. A mentor that helps the family, helps the kid over time, really makes a commitment to that one-on-one support of one single child and one single family. And that's at the heart of what Families Plus does.
Wanted to provide normalcy for some of the children in the world that don't have very much of a normal childhood. And
not that we're normal.
Yeah, we're not very normal either, but a child that doesn't necessarily have a mother and a father in the home and is just struggling. And I don't know, I guess we've kind of always been interested in kids because we were in education. Harry was an administrator, I was a teacher, so kids are just part of our life. And at least at that time, our grandchildren were living very far away, and so I thought, well, we have time. So I don't know, it's just part of life to help other people.
A mentoring family is someone I think that they can look at, and a child will look at and see maybe a different aspect of that's different in their life. And it's a different way maybe of living that they do not have the opportunity to have. And it's not their fault. They don't have, it just happened that way. It could be due to many different circumstances, but it's not the child's fault. And so the child becomes broader in seeing that there is another way of living and maybe a different way of life, and that she could perhaps have that also, if that's something that she would like.
We try to help the child understand what life is really about. A lot of times kids never have the opportunity, their parents don't have time for them, or they're split up, something of that nature. And I feel that we could be a go-between to help them understand what life is all about.
They've never known anything else. They think what they have is
normal
for everybody. And they need to see that it isn't, and that they can do more of it.
She has been with us now for 5 years. Well, it will be 5 years next year, here in a few months. And one thing that I noticed about, she's very observant. And I noticed that she even tells us, and that's what makes us really feel good, because she says, boy, your family really, really cares for each other. Or you guys get together a lot. But what really makes us feel good is she wants to be with us.
I think it's really important for people to keep in mind that good intervention for children with complex needs necessarily is community-based intervention. That the more traditional individual therapy type interventions tend to not be at all effective. That children with complex needs can be self-sufficient, talented, really wonderful parents and adults, but they can't do that without all of us caring and getting involved in helping them achieve that.
If Families Plus had not been my life, I don't know. There should be no fear at all, ever, reaching out towards Families Plus. They will do their utmost and beyond, but between them as a singular thought or communal thought, as Families Plus as a group, and as the one heart they all seem to have. They'll find a way, and they will fulfill, if at all possible, needs and they'll help fix your fears. If your fears are so overwhelming that you're virtually immobilized, as I was, they'll come in and start helping those fears be healed.
I said there's lots and lots of individuals out there that are doing things to help others. We're not the only ones. I mean, in many ways, we don't do very much, but I'm always amazed when you really find out what some people are doing to help others. So it makes you want to do the same.
I got to say, this is an amazing resource for Delta County, and it's worth supporting. So if you can, give what you can, support, give your time. Time is vital, and we need you.